Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition, a Tuesday edition of PodUp Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go buy yourself something at International Diamond Center Studios. Also, don't forget, Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your number one local HVAC company. Comfort Temp is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. You need any AC work, give them a call. Well, Buddie Martin today. We'll also have Joey Johnston from down in Tampa talking South Florida Bulls. The Bulls are rolling into Gainesville Saturday, 4:15 kick. Better be ready to play. Be ready to play. If you missed it last night, Carolina, the Tar Heels get blasted by the Horned Frogs.
Wow.
Not much of a surprise there. Let's go to the Take No More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by the host of the Buddie Martin Show, Buddie Martin himself. Good morning, Buddy.
Well, Shane, I was thinking if you were going to buy me a present at the International Diamond Center, what would you get me? I mean, maybe how about a diamond stick pin? You ever hear of those?
I'm gonna get you some chains like Dallas Wilson wears. That dude,
Okay.
on Saturday, buddy, he
Yeah,
had
yeah.
it looked like three huge chains around his
Yeah.
neck with this big medallion, multiple medallions. I'll get
Mm.
you one of those.
Well, I'll tell you
Got
what,
a chain that says Gator Bait.
yeah, that works. I would say it'd be okay, whatever you got me. Here's the deal. I mean, that dude, he can wear whatever he wants to wear, as far as I'm concerned, if he just catches balls. And he will catch a bunch of balls. And what a weekend we had. Shane, we talked about it some last night on my program. It was a wonderful weekend for most people. There were some things that didn't go well. You mentioned one. Talk about a goat being in the wrong pasture. Bill Belichick last night. I don't know. He started out with a good drive, and they scored, and that was the end of it. And he really, to be honest with you, TCU not only pummeled them 48-14. That's right, 48-14. He merely made Belichick in front of what was a crowd anticipating at least a game at Kennedy Stadium, and after UNC jumped off to a 7-0 lead. So TCU scored the next 41 points. Now, look, I know it takes a while, and Belichick got his medicine. Quote, they just outplayed us, they outcoached us. They were better than we were tonight. No, couldn't Dick Tracy. So it was ugly. Some would say, well, give him time. Well, guys like him don't get a lot of time.
Well, you know who the next coach is going to be there, right?
No, you tell me.
His son. That's why he took the job. His
Mm,
son's going to be the next coach, who's the defense coordinator.
okay.
I didn't think North Carolina had a chance going into that game because TCU's quarterback is outstanding. And he put on a show last night. And they had like 17 starters back from last year's team. They were pretty decent. Yeah, he's going to have to get players. I don't know if he will or not. Time will tell. But TCU could have named the score last night. And I don't know. I haven't looked at North Carolina's schedule to see who they play in the ACC, but I don't know if they're going to win 4 or 5 games. I really don't.
Mm. Look at last night. It's going to be a long year. And it's not just the fact they got beat, Shane. They looked horrible. And
Well, they don't have a very good team, buddy. Yet sometimes
I get it, but it's his team. Okay, it is his team. Let's not cut him slack. And this is the thing about all coaches right now. When I look at what we saw, look, we have nothing all summer long. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Now we know something. We've seen something, and you say give it time. Well, there's certain people don't get time, and Belichick's one of them. If he's there another 2 years, I'd be shocked because North Carolina fans aren't going to put up with that. I can tell you right now. I don't care who he is. I don't know. It just seems to me like it was a misfit. His conduct is anything but great. His personal life is his personal life, but it spilled over to his professional life. in a way that's not doesn't look good. It's not a good look. And North Carolina has gone backwards. And Shane, it takes a while to get it going back in the right direction, as you know. And you know the answer to this. Why is it that the transition is so hard to make in football from pro to college, college to pro? Some guys just aren't built to coach college football, and I think Belichick is one of them. And if you look at the college games over the weekend, the indictments are on not the players, but on the coaches who didn't have their players ready to play. And we saw Alabama. They were not ready to play. And as someone said yesterday, I think it might have been Feinbaum, he said he asked Orlowski from the ESPN to and the grade the film. He said Orlowski said there were 21 cases of Alabama players giving up and quitting on the play. That's an indictment against a team that has always been proud. I mean, the defense of Alabama has been a standard, you know. Nick Saban's defense was it. They'll take you on. But that was just awful. He was, and I'll tell you somebody else who wasn't ready, and that's Arch Manning. And yes, I put it at the feet of Steve Sarkisian.
Well, what is your definition of the coach didn't have his team ready to play?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, you know better than this. He's had him 2 years.
No, I'm not talking about just Arch. I'm just talking about in general. Your statement that team was not ready to play.
Alabama wasn't ready to play.
Okay. Do you not want to give Florida State any credit to beat their ass?
I do give a lot of credit.
Okay.
A lot of credit. But I'm giving them, it was probably the most impressive game of the weekend. And I wouldn't give them all the credit in the world. But I mean, is that the Alabama team we're going to?
Well, that's the same Alabama team they had last year.
No, I know, but with the same coach last year. You like to think the second year, you say time will tell. Well, time told all right. DeBoer is not going to last Alabama like this.
He's not. But that doesn't. I've never understood, and I know people talk about it all the time. They weren't ready to play. Okay, you say Arch Manning wasn't ready to play.
Yeah, let me give an example why. Let me give an example why. He's been there 2 years, okay?
I understand.
Yeah, and put your own standards in this. You know, when you throw the football, there's certain things you don't do. And you worked on it and people don't realize Spurrier didn't turn a switch on and go out there and call magical ball plays. The fundamentals you of all people know, you have to learn how to throw the football. And you worked on it all the time, Shane, all the time. You had to serve where you had to hold the ball, throw the ball, whatever. And when I saw Manning throw the ball a 98-mile-an-hour fastball sidearm to a guy 10 yards away, I'm saying, where's that been? I mean, aside from his uncles and his dad, I mean, how is that how he's been throwing that ball? I had to see it. And if it was, that's on Steve Sarkisian, just like it'd be on Steve Spurrier.
Okay, I hear you there. I don't know why Arch's fundamentals were not very good. I agree 1,000%. But I will tell you this. Ohio State's defense locked them down. Not just Arch Manning, locked down their receivers. And here's the thing. Texas lost the game 14-7. Let's not forget Ohio State only had 200 yards of offense. Texas is going to be fine. I know people want to jump all over Arch Manning. I think he's going to be a very good player. He did not play well. There's a lot of players around the country that could look at Saturday and say, I did not play very well. He was in the limelight. Was it fair? Probably not. The Heisman hype? Probably not. The commercials, the money, whatever. I will tell you right now that the Texas Longhorns will be in the hunt to make the playoffs.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
They are loaded with talent.
I hear you. That's not my issue right now.
Okay, but one game, buddy. It's just one game.
One game, the biggest opening day game in the history of college football. And I'm not blaming Arch Manning so much because he was let down by people around him. I love Arch Manning. I think he'll be a terrific quarterback. But you apply your standards to quarterback play, and you tell me how he looked. He didn't look like he was ready.
He did not look good. I'm
okay, that's all.
But I'm not drawing a conclusion on his. Just like his head coach said, let the book write itself out, or whatever.
Yeah, right. Well,
and I said this on the show last night.
Yeah.
In Arch Manning's first career start against a top 10 team, which they were number 3 in America, on the road, Arch went 17 of 30 for 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Okay. Peyton, in his first start against a top 10 team at home against number 10 Alabama, went 10 of 18 for 138, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You can't compare it, but that right there, making a comparison. I will sit here and eat crow if the Texas Longhorns are not in the playoffs because I think
That's
they're
not the
good
point. That
defensively.
isn't the point at all.
Yeah, it is. If
No,
that's
it's
the
not.
goal is to make the
No.
playoffs.
Well, what's the point is, Shane, is the opening day, the best quarterback in the country, the guy that we all think should win the Heisman, and I do
Who's
believe he will.
we? Nobody.
Well, I mean,
I
most
said
of
Garrett
us.
Nussmeier or John Mateer is going to win the Heisman.
Okay, fine. Okay, well then, but I like Nussmeier. I'm just talking about one guy right now who people anticipated would do some things really well, and throwing the ball was be one of them, and he didn't throw it well, and his coach and I'm sorry, I'm giving an opinion here. This is it. See these eyes right here? These eyes saw Peyton Manning when he first played in the second half against Florida. And I can tell you right.
I'm talking about their first
I'm talking
start
about
against
eye
top 10
test.
opponents.
I'm talking about eye test right now. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't care about first starts. I saw him when he first came on the field. Peyton was a lot better quarterback then than what I saw with Arch Benning
Well,
last night.
Peyton also has a gold jacket and multiple
Okay,
Super
okay.
Bowls.
But I'm asking you,
Y'all are being too hard on this kid, in my opinion.
I'm not being hard. I'm being hard on Sarkisian
Why?
because he didn't have him ready to play.
Well, I think Sarkisian got his ass out coached by Matt
And
Patricia.
and that too.
Okay, that happens daily on Saturdays. One team coaches better than the other. One coach wins, one coach loses. It's just one game in a long season. If this was back 10, 15 years ago with the way the format college football was then you'd have a problem. But it's one game, and Texas has way too many good players, and their defense is just nasty. Nasty, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You have your opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. Not a
I'm
thing.
just talking. We talk about it all summer. All summer. We don't have anything to go by, and we have one game now. And I'm talking about that one game what I saw.
Yeah.
I don't know. I agree that they're going to be okay at some point, but they're not. He's not the greatest quarterback in the history of college football, as some Texas sports writers have said. I'm just saying, and it's not his fault. I love the kid. I love his thing. His family's a great story. I know you love the Manning family, whatever. I'm rooting for him, but I'm just making a point. Was he didn't play well? Why?
Well, because that defense is the best he's going to see all year long.
And his coach didn't have him ready to play. That's the other
Okay.
thing.
All right. So Sarkisian was not ready to play,
Mhm.
and March was not ready to play.
Mhm.
They lost to the number 3 team.
Yeah.
The defending national champs. Let's not forget about that. All right. So we'll see them here in a couple of weeks, and then we can reevaluate. Asa says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Morning, guys. Can you give us an opinion on what you saw that South Florida game against Boise State? It was quite impressive. I want to know what the Gators need to do to stop the South Florida offensive attack. It will be hard. Their pace of play, it's deception is what it is. They try to get you on your heels, not lined up. They throw a lot of wide receiver screens to get your big guys running and tiring them out, and then they try to gas you inside the box, rushing the football, and then they'll take a couple of shots. Florida's got a better roster than them, but their style of play can cause some problems.
And you pointed out last night, and I think Billy has a high regard for Golesh. And you're right, their pace of play will be a problem. I said last night, and I say again, all of a sudden Florida's schedule doesn't look even, I mean, never looked easy. It looks a lot tougher when you look at the opponents on their schedule and how they play, including Miami, including LSU. Now, we knew they were on the schedule, but now it looks even more daunting when you think about them having to go to LSU and Miami and play right off the bat, and then play Texas. And so it's going to be a real challenge. And I think if you were picking Florida to win 9 games, you might want to rethink that.
Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, what did Buddy think of DJ's play? He didn't look ready to play either. He might still be holding the ball in a few of those pass plays.
Well, I thought he got better as the game went along. It's about what I expected out of him. You called it, and I agree with it. He didn't get the reps. He didn't play great. He played okay. He didn't play terrible. He played okay, and he's gonna be okay. I think his coaches had him ready to play. I'll say that as best they could given his physical situation. So I'm not concerned. I'll tell you what I love Tramel Jones. We talked about it last night. This kid really lights me up. I think, and again, I'm not expecting to play, but just having him there and having him available because we know how fragile TJ is a very important thing. And there are a lot of things I liked about the Gators. Who could not like Vernell Brown? You made a point last night. He takes the ball north on punt returns, and that's a beautiful thing to see. I don't know. Overall, I thought Florida played okay. And someone said use one word to say how they played. I used the word sufficient. They were sufficient to what they had to do.
Text on the Titan Mark text line here from someone in the 904 says UNC is awful. Agree. Chris from Cottondale says, I am a fan of Trammell and knew you would be impressed with his performance. I also said he would be a real dude under Spurrier. He knows where he's going with the ball, anticipates well, throws a good ball, good legs to go with it. Reminds me of an athletic Rex, not jumping the gun, but I feel much better. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, good
Because
comment.
he's about Rex's height. He's only about 6 foot. He's a natural thrower. I was blown away.
And Shane, if I may, that's what I meant about having a quarterback ready to play, knowing where to go with the football, being
Well,
intentional.
that's not so much having a quarterback ready to play. That's just the quarterback having that natural instinct. You can sit there and coach your ass off for hours and hours and hours, and the quarterback still may not know where to go with the football. It's either you have it or you don't. That's why I say it all the time, buddy. Understanding, anticipation cannot be taught. This kid has it naturally.
I agree, and you know more about this than I'll ever know. So I wouldn't compare my knowledge to yours. I think the point's the same, though, is looking and knowing. You didn't really know how Terrell Jones was going to play, and neither did I. Whoever got him ready, and maybe he got himself ready, I don't know. But give them a little credit for it. They had knew enough to get him and give him some reps and give him the backup job. And sometimes that doesn't happen. They get lost. I'm really happy to see they've got him there.
Yes, Daryl says on Titan Mar text on a fan base needs to enjoy it while they're on top. It doesn't last forever. I think Alabama fans are going to go through the years of mediocrity like Florida fans did when the HBC left. Exactly. I talk about this every year. There's only a handful of great coaches that have coached at different institutions. They just don't fall off trees, just like great quarterbacks don't fall off trees. Florida had Urban, and they had Coach. Alabama had Saban, they had the Bear. Georgia had Mark Richt, they had three. They had Mark Richt, Vince Dooley, and now Kirby. Okay. So people just they don't get that. Just because you won under another, won a lot of games under one coach and he left or retired or whatever, doesn't mean it's going to continue because great coaches, Hall of Fame coaches, are hard to find.
Agree.
Um,
Well, Shane, you talked about who was ready, who played well, and you mentioned Nussmeier. Who else caught your eye? Castellanos had to a little bit.
No, he does nothing for me. He completed 8 passes. I mean, he did what he did at UCF and what he did at Boston College a couple of times when he was a star. He runs around and makes plays. I think Gus called a great game. I mean, Nussmeier to me, I've said from day one, even last year, I thought he was the best quarterback in America because he does things you can't teach. He beat a really good team in Clemson at their ballpark, and I think that goes a long ways. I thought John Mateer at Oklahoma, they play Michigan in Norman Saturday night, which is going to be a hell of a game, but people will get to see him play. He
Yeah,
is very,
I didn't get
very
to see him
good.
play the other night. I don't know. I
The
take your
Ole Miss
word for it.
QB Austin Simmons had a big night.
Mm-hmm.
It was against Georgia State, but he completed a bunch of balls, a lot of touchdowns, threw for 1,000,000 yards. So the Tennessee quarterback, I said this when Nico left. I thought it was better for Tennessee. For us playing against Tennessee, I thought it was not a good thing because Nico, however you pronounce his last name, is not a very good quarterback. You can sit in a room with him, buddy, with the John Gruden, with Steve Spurrier, with you tell me Bill Walsh, and you can coach him for 8 months. He ain't going to be a different quarterback. He just does not know how to play.
Then you got the wrong guy. Mm.
Well, they're going to keep paying him because some of these guys think because of his arm strength and all this nonsense that has nothing to do with playing quarterback or he's going to win them games. But he was horrible at UCLA the other night. Utah just destroyed them. And
Was it 40 something
Tennessee
to
is
14?
better off with Joey Aguilar.
Hmm. Okay.
That's just my 2 cents.
Okay. Who
Somebody
surprised?
at
Who
ESPN may
surprised
disagree with
you?
me, but I
Who
don't give a
su-
damn.
who surprised you? In a
Uh,
positive way, it's a quarterback.
Surprised me as a quarterback. I mean, I didn't get to see a whole lot of games, but I can't think of anybody that just came out of nowhere that I wasn't
Yeah,
aware of.
yeah.
So,
Well, I know one thing that with Miami, LSU, and Tennessee playing so well, all of a sudden Florida's schedule looks like I said more daunting than ever, and they got to get it done, and we'll see if they got it. But Shane, here's a little positive spin. We can always use positive stuff, right? Especially on that Tuesday after Labor Day. Happy Labor Day after to you. AP top 25. If you were picking today, and you were laying your top 25 out, I think there's a good chance you, like I, would put all three big three Florida schools in the top 25. It's been a while since that's happened, right? Now, Florida would go in there somewhere around 15 or something like that, probably 14 and 15. Florida State would have to be in the top 25. And Miami certainly be in the top 5 or 6. So maybe those days are back again, Shane.
possibly. But yeah, I think Florida State should be ranked this week for sure. Text from Johnny on Lake City on the Titan Mar text line. He says, once again, I'll beat the drum for Jaden Robinson. He was statistically the best player on defense Saturday night, knocked the ball loose on the Thornton touchdown. Might be one of the best players on our defense that gets lost behind all the other names. Agreed 1000%.
How about Bryce Thornton? He's a
Yeah,
playmaker.
well, Bryce Thornton picked up the ball because of Jaden Robinson knocking the
I
ball
get you,
loose.
but he's a playmaker. It's like he got 2 picks last year in one game that saved the game for him, Thornton. You never hear him talked about, but one of those guys that's around the ball. I like that about him. How'd you like the defense?
I thought the defense played okay. I mean, they just overwhelmed a high school football team.
Hmm.
You know, God bless the first drive. We had some issues with their option game just because you don't see it live in practice. But after the first drive, they didn't do anything. Um, they were playing two quarterbacks at the same time. One was playing wide receiver, one would go play quarterback, and they
Yeah,
rotated. It was quite interesting.
yeah.
Um, this is from Rick and Jupiter on the Titan Mar text line. Can you ask Buddy what he means when he says the coach didn't have them ready to play? Did Ryan Day have them ready to play and only won by a touchdown?
I say ready to play. I mean, obviously you have to, number one, coach him up in fundamentals. All right. So he's ready, he's delivering the ball correctly. Again, going back to the Steve Spurrier model, you threw and threw and threw and threw and threw the ball so you got it right. You didn't. If you didn't get it right, he made sure you got it right. That's number one. Secondly, physically, obviously, you got to be ready. That's kind of out of the hands of the coach. Mentally, having coached up and given ball players, put a cast around him that can get the job done and then pick the right guy. All that's getting you right to play. And I saw guys that were, and I don't know what they did to Mel Jones, but they got him ready to play when his time came. And some guys didn't. And I blame that on the offensive coordinator and the coach when it happens. And again, I say you've got to be ready to play in the SEC. You can't mess around.
Marie on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law says, Shane, what did you think of Carson Beck's play? I thought he was solid. I
Me
think
too. Yeah.
he's in kind of a quarterback friendly offense that Mike Leach air raid. Shannon
Mhm.
Dawson learned under him, a lot of shallow crosses and things of that nature. But I thought he played really well against a damn good football team. Notre Dame will
Mhm.
be in the playoffs as well, in my
I
opinion.
agree 100%. People talking about Notre Dame. Notre Dame's good. I think they're little quarterbacks young. I mean, they didn't do it downfield like you would like to, I'm sure, but he did okay. And I think Notre Dame played pretty darn good. And by the way, Carson Beck, give him props. He lost his passion for football. You heard him say it after the game. He talked about how great it was to be in Miami and to love the guys he played with. They taught me to love football again. That's a big thing. So they rehabbed him emotionally, mentally, gave him a chance, and he's got the game. He's going to be dangerous. He's going to be a problem this year for a lot of teams that play Miami.
Yeah, I was looking at the car kid, his stats. He was 19 of 30 for 221, two touchdowns, one interception, but made some great plays. I
He did
think
make some great plays.
he's got a
Yeah,
bright future for sure.
yeah.
Um, uh,
His grandfather was the head coach at Michigan.
yeah,
And
Lloyd Clark,
yeah,
Lloyd Clark for sure.
car, yeah.
All right, buddy. Hang on. We got some more text here. I got people calling me now. I don't have time to talk to them.
While
Uh,
you're waiting, I'll just throw out the idea that I've never been a huge game day fan. You haven't either. And I like Lee Corso fine. He brings a lot of fun to football. But I tell you what, nobody ever had a better weekend than Lee Corso. He number one, he got every single pick he got. Like he made seven, including Ohio State. He picked FSU to win his alma mater. And secondly, the segment he did where he did his headgear pick, we picked Ohio State, was the highest rated segment in the history of game day. So I'd say Lee went out in style.
yes, he did. Just got a text here. Wanted to know if I knew Ole Miss gave up 260 yards rushing to Georgia State. I did not, but they only gave up 60 yards passing. So, and Ole Miss had 695 yards of offense.
Mm-hmm.
They lost some good players last year in the that graduated, but I mean they still only gave up 260 total yards. So actually, no, that's not right. They gave up 191 yards rushing, 260 total yards. That's what they gave up. Buddy, who you got on the program tonight?
Well, it's Lauren's night tonight. It's low down with Lauren Meadows, and you'll have our friend Mr. Brown will be on, Rob, and he always has a surprise or two. Talk about the weekend, obviously, what we saw. What a great weekend for college football. By the way, here's a story that got buried. I don't even know if you know about it. Kevin O'Sullivan was suspended
Yeah.
and it got buried. It was released in the middle of a rambling comment by Strickland. It's part of a press conference, and no one picked up on it for a couple of days. So he was suspended himself, they said, self-suspension, for 3.5 games for his behavior last year. So I hope he never loses that fire and passion, but you can't do what he did.
Justin on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. QB, do you think Billy will ever concede that the talent this team has is best suited for a Shannon Dawson type offense? Too many talented wide receivers to not spread it out and pitch it around. No, look, I have no problem because one of the best ways to throw the football is out of 11 and 12 personnel. Those are actually my favorite personnel groupings to throw because the defense has to defend the run as well. And then you're taking the ball out of Jaden Ball's hands if you go 4 and 5 wides. Do I want to do that once, maybe 3 or 4 times in a game? Yes, depending on the situation. But that's not what their DNA. There's not a lot of teams that do that anymore, for whatever reason. But I wish we would 2 or 3 times a game. But
Like
if
see
you
it
go,
for
if you go 4 or 5 wides with our actual wide receivers and you take Jaden Ball out of the game, I think you're making a mistake.
Did you see him? He lined up at wide receiver once last Saturday and Sunday night. They was out there wide. Ball. Jaden
Yeah, we did that last year. We motioned
I
out to
missed it
you.
last year. Yeah, I missed it last year.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so you know how much I love Jaden Ball. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. I said on the show last night, I think we might have left the show by then. I would like to see him lined up and give it to Jaden Ball 5 or 6 straight times. Just let him pound. Of course, you don't want to get him hurt. But he is such a specimen. He's such a great player. And we've not even seen the best of him yet. He's quite a receiver, they say. He runs great routes, according to what Billy said.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be throwing it to him, though, unless he's like a swing pass or screen or something.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. All right, buddy, we got to get to Joey Johnston and talk about the South Florida Bulls rolling into town. Have a good week, and we will talk to you next week, my man.
All right. Thanks for having me on. Good luck, and say hello to Joey for me, all right?
Yep, that is Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Take a quick time out. We come back. We'll be joined by Joey Johnston from down in Tampa talking South Florida Bulls. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. When Urban Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors. Go beyond with smooth Los Landeros tequila. Back to the Titan Tomorrow Highline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by Joey Johnston, who talking a little South Florida Bulls. Big win over Boise State. Joey, appreciate you joining the program, man.
Oh, thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to Saturday in the Swamp.
Absolutely. Well, let's go back to the Boise State game. I actually picked South Florida to win it on my program here. I like the way Alex Golesh coaches football. I like their style of play offensively. I thought it would give Boise problems. What are your thoughts about how they played against Boise?
Well, the biggest thing is the way they played on defense. As much as they've improved on offense, they have really sort of hadn't had a lot of great moments on defense in the last couple of years, but this was certainly a great moment. And they clearly have a ton of speed and physicality on that side of the ball. And if they can continue to play like that all year, they're gonna have some higher expectations. They've gotten a ton of new players on the defensive line. They've got a bunch of great defensive backs that played well and tackled exceptionally well, and two very experienced linebackers in the middle. So the defense, which wasn't described as a strength at all for this team, might be the strength of this team if it continues to go this way.
Yeah, let's talk about offensively. He runs that Art Browse offense, the tempo they learned from, coaching there at Tennessee. Byron Brown, I don't remember how many games he played last year, but was injured.
Five. Yeah, he got injured week 5.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Anthony Richardson, right? The big guy that can run. I think he's more physical as a runner than Anthony was. I still think he's a little erratic when he, in the pass game, he hits some plays, then misses some of the easy throws. But his athleticism, I'm concerned. I think he can cause a lot of problems in the Swamp Saturday.
Yeah, he really can. I mean, he's listed at 6'3.5", 232. He's gained about 30 plus pounds since he entered the program as a freshman a few years ago. And it's muscle. I mean, this kid is chiseled. He looks like a pro player out there. He looks like an outside linebacker, actually. But the interesting thing against Boise State was when he ran, he initiated contact. He was leveling defensive backs and kept going. He had 2 really nice touchdown runs and another one of about 35 yards that got called back by penalty. He is certainly a weapon in the running game, and he's a threat to get 100 on you, on anybody really. But the passing game, I agree with you. He's hit or miss. I'm not crazy about his motion. He kind of comes at you sidearmy sometimes. I think that's something that needs to be worked on. He does have some really good targets this year. That's another strength of this team. Keyshawn Singleton, a really big physical kid, is back and could be a real star, but they've added 2 guys that look like they're keepers. Chaz Nimrod from Tennessee, who's a deep threat, and Moody Rubin, a big slot receiver from Stanford. So if those guys stay healthy and line up on the field, they've got really, they might have the best receiving core in their conference, and certainly one that's going to challenge a lot of people. So if Byram can get the ball to those guys, they can make some things happen as well.
Yeah, I mean, skill-wise, I think South Florida can match up with a lot of people around the country. When you look at the interior O-line and D-line, do you think you have some concerns there for South Florida fans going up against the SEC caliber guys that Florida has?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where you start looking at this game for sure. Offensive line, very experienced, a lot of returning starters, good depth, but did not play well against Boise State. The running game really couldn't get off the mat. They had a long 49-yard run and late in the game that kind of skewed the stats a bit, but the truth was they really couldn't run it the way they wanted to and had to resort to some other things. So the O-line will definitely be worthy of some scrutiny against the Gators front. And defensively, like I said, they've improved. They've got some beef up there. They've got some depth. Whether it's enough to handle an SEC offensive line remains to be seen. We're going to learn that Saturday night. But it is improved, and depth is the biggest thing. They have, the last few years, been in a situation where when the injuries hit, they've been hamstrung. So at least they've got 8-9 bodies to rotate in and out. And they've got some, they call it the B-backer, like an outside linebacker, rush end hybrid. They've got 3 guys that can really run and get after you on that side of the ball. So, they're going to come at you with some athleticism, but whether it's enough to deal with the Gator offensive line, again, remains to be seen.
How many total transfers are starting for them this year? Because I know didn't they hit the portal pretty hard?
They did. They've got 54 new players overall, including freshmen. I would say on a given night, you've got 8 transfers, let's say, which is a lot, but it was needed in some of those spots. The talent needed to be upgraded. So, again, we're basing this off one game, but the one game was a very good one. I think, it's football. You play the game and then you analyze it for 6 days. And one of the things I'm hearing now is, man, how good is Boise State? Are they any good? Well, I don't know if we know that yet, but you can only base it on history. And they've been pretty good for about 25 years. So right. I'm going to say they're good. Maybe they're not as good as they were last year, but I think they're certainly a really, really good team. And it's a good win. It's the first time USF's beaten a ranked team since 2016. So it's given the program a ton of confidence, and they're going to need it because they go to Florida on Saturday and then they go to Miami the week after that. So really, really tough schedule. Beyond that, certainly looks like a USF team that should challenge to win the American Conference title, but they got to figure out a way to weather this early schedule. If they could somehow, some way get a win at Florida or Miami and come out of this 2-1, that's way above expectations, and that they should be soaring at that point. But they've got to find a way to weather it right now.
So somebody I can't find it now. It was on YouTube or Facebook, asked a question. Do South Florida fans, would they prefer a win over Florida or over Miami?
I think Florida, unquestionably. Florida is the standard bearer in the state. Where any city you're in Florida, you're going to be surrounded by Gators, and Tampa is no different. Tampa Bay is no different. The USF fans are inundated by Gator Nation. This program has one at Florida State and one at Miami. This was 2009 and 2010. So if they can win at Florida, they will be among the very few people in the country that have won in those home stadiums for the Big Three of Florida. So sure, a win over Miami would be great, but man, I think if USF can find a way to beat the Gators, it would be the biggest thing to happen in the history of the program, I believe.
Florida Crackers, the brand for original Floridians, great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida. FloridaCracker.com. A few more minutes with Joey Johnston here talking USF Bulls football. They'll be in the Swamp, 4:15 kickoff. Let me ask you this question. Where does South Florida stand with their on-campus football stadium?
It's underway. When we go to practice, there's trucks and there's noise and there's things coming out of the ground. So it is moving. Dirt's being pushed around, and now things are actually coming out of the ground. So they are projected to open it to begin the 2027 season. So we are down to the last, I guess, dozen or so games at Raymond James Stadium, theoretically. Hopefully this thing gets finished on time. You never know when you're building something, but they are projected to open 2027. I believe it's against Louisville is the team that will come in, and it's going to change everything. As you probably know, USF has always played at the Buck Stadium, which is a great thing in a lot of ways. I mean, you can sell it to your recruits. Hey, you could play at a stadium where the Super Bowl is being played, and it's plush. It's got great amenities, but it's 10 miles away from the campus. Not quite the same as going to the Swamp or going to a place where you can roll out of your dorm and get to the game. And so it's expected to really change everything for this program in terms of the buzz on campus and the attractiveness. And they are certainly leaving no stone unturned, putting all the expenses they can. They've studied it really closely. From what I've seen, it's going to be a pretty neat place to be for a fan, for a student, and for a fan. And, I grew up in Tampa. I went to USF. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that we'll have on-campus football in a couple of years. It's a long time in coming, and it's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to definitely change the program. Are there any talks? I mean, college football is expanding and moving people from conference to conference. And obviously, I don't follow South Florida that much, but with UCF going to the Big 12, is there a chance that South Florida can move into one of these bigger conferences and be a Power Four school anytime soon?
Well, they certainly hope so. USF a few years back was in the Big East, which was a
Right.
BCS conference at the time. So they got a taste of being in the big time. And then when the Big East football imploded, it created the American Conference, and then the realignment has taken all kinds of crazy shapes since then. USF believes it's a big time school and should have a place in there. Certainly the Tampa market, the on-campus stadium, where the school is going, it's got a lot to sell. And believe you me, UCF being in the Big 12 has been a tough one for USF fans to stomach, because it's a pretty bitter rivalry, and now they don't even play each other anymore. We hope that will come back one day, because it's a great rivalry game. But for sure, USF is putting all the chips on the table for the next round of realignment, whenever that may occur. And yes, they absolutely, positively want to be in a big conference. That is what they're staking everything on.
Yeah, well, if they keep playing the way they played against Boise, and we know it's only one game, but there's that group of five or whatever they call it now, like Boise last year, getting into the playoffs. Could it be the Bulls this year? We'll see. Joey, tell us a little bit about Alex Golesh. It's an interesting story. He's born in Russia. Is he like a player's coach, or is he a hard ass? Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, he's a bit of a hard ass, but he's a tough love guy. He'll rip you, then he'll hug you. He's an offensive guy. He plays high tempo. He believes in attacking. He's an aggressive guy. I think USF went for it 47 times on fourth down his first year. That led the nation. And we saw in the Boise State game, he when the game was scoreless, he went for a 4th and 1, and USF territory did not get it. And that ended up leading to Boise State's only touchdown. Then the biggest game of the day was a fake punt that resulted in a touchdown. They snuck in a true freshman quarterback Lachlan Hewlett, who is from St. Augustine, snuck him on. We didn't notice. I don't think TV noticed for a long time that that's actually not the punter out there. So they put their freshman quarterback in and had the right look and threw a touchdown pass. And Alex Golesh is bold and fearless. That is probably his biggest criteria as a head coach. And he wants to get after you. He is unapologetic. And he believes that USF can be at the highest level. He's done a great job in recruiting. The talent has really increased, even in this crazy time of transfer portal. So I think he's a guy certainly destined for something big in his future. And if Boise State game is any indication, he's got things moving in year 3. So we'll have to see.
We have a text from James on the Titan Mark text line. He says, Joey, do you know how much USF is getting paid to play at Florida and at Miami?
I don't actually. I haven't looked into that, but it's probably, I'm guessing, in the million and change. I think that's the going rate for such things. It was a 2-for-1. Florida played in Tampa in 2021, and then played in Gainesville 2022 in a game that USF could have and should have won, probably 31-28. The Gators won it Napier's first year. So this is the second game, and there's no games further on the schedule. And Miami was also a 2-for-1. No further games with Miami on the schedule. So USF certainly would hope in the future, if it can get into a major conference, it would love to play the Gators, the Canes, the Seminoles on a semi-regular basis. And the fans in Tampa would certainly welcome that as well.
Yeah, those paydays definitely help programs like USF. William on the Titan Mar text line wants to know, has recruiting helped or hurt that y'all play at Raymond James in an NFL stadium?
I think you can cut that both ways. I think for the most part, they've taken advantage of it. Kids do like playing at Raymond James Stadium and playing on the big NFL field. But I think this is going to be a different animal once USF gets on campus and you see the absolute excitement that happens with the students and with the alumni when you have that kind of situation. I think it's been good. Now it has a chance to really be great with an on-campus setting. So it's not like they're playing in a bad stadium. It's a beautiful stadium that hosts Super Bowls. It's very comfortable with club seating and all the amenities that an NFL team has. So we're not talking about a bad place to play. It's 10 miles from campus. If it could be on campus, it'd be absolutely ideal. So they're trying to recreate a great setting as much as they can on campus. And in 2027, we'll see what that's like.
Yeah, it's they need it quickly. All right, last thing for you. In your opinion, for South Florida to win this football game, upset the mighty Gators in the swamp, what has to happen?
They've got to do a better job of running the ball and controlling the clock, which they could not do against Boise State. If they can move the chains and stay on the field and get some tempo going and maybe get ahead of things and get that Gator defense to stay on the field for a while, I think that will be a major plus. The problem will be if they're going 3 and out and the Gators start dictating to the USF defense, that's going to be a problem. So I think if USF can get its running game going, which is really what it bases its offense around, I think it has a decent chance. If it doesn't, it's going to be a problem.
I got to ask you this because it's nonstop on my program. Do the fans at UCF bitch and complain about all the wide receiver screens that they throw there?
They certainly did the last game because that was how the offense started, and it started to sputter. It's funny. It's like play callers, and you may relate to this, being a quarterback and being around the head ball coach and all that. The play callers have like a different mindset. I remember John Gruden talking about calling plays, and it was the weirdest thing. He talked about once he wanted a play to fail because he was trying to set something up for later. And it's just some of these elite play callers they think differently.
They do.
And I know Alex Golesh was talking about the bubble screens. He was trying to get Byram into a rhythm. It's like a feel. They're playing a different game than we're thinking sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking the long game. Again, I think his intent is to set something up for later. I guess you can't argue with the results. They won 34-7, but people are going to quibble about the play calls. I think you got to look at the results overall and see how it goes down the line. But Alex Golesh is, he does what he does, and he's not going to apologize for it. I will say that. And which you need that thick skin, because people are going to criticize you no matter what you do.
That's very true. And I try to tell people wide receiver screens aren't designed to score touchdowns. If they happen to score a touchdown, that's great. But it's to get the ball in somebody's hands into space, get 3 or 4 yards, make the defense sprint from sideline to sideline to tire them out, and it will pay off later on. It just people don't understand that. Joey?
Yeah, you're right, Shane. That's it's a fascinating thing. And again, I've watched football all my life. You played football all your life, but I don't understand. I'm not on the level of that sometimes, of knowing exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Joey, appreciate your time. Let everybody know how they can follow you covering the Bulls.
Yeah, I write for gousfbulls.com, the website of the athletic department, and I'm on Twitter at Joey Johnston 813. So check out our website, and hopefully we'll have some good content for the Gator fans to dig into to lead up to this game. We're looking forward to getting up to Gainesville on Saturday.
Awesome. We'll see you in the press box, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Shane. Take care.
Yeah, Joey Johnston covering the Bulls does a great job. Appreciate him taking time to talk to us about UCF, who's rolling in here on Saturday. The Pouncey Twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. We're proud members Stephen Orr Spurrier Banks. I meant to do this with Budddy. 1966, Joe Auer returns the opening kickoff, 95 yards for a Miami touchdown in the Dolphins' first ever NFL regular season game. However, the Raiders went on to win 23-14 at the Orange Bowl before 26,776 fans. So that's This Day in Sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. All right, that's going to do it. Appreciate everybody chiming in. I couldn't get to everybody's questions and stuff. But Justin wanted to know, how much did Florida get paid to play at UCF? We don't get paid when we go to their places. It's like a 2-for-1. That's how you get the smaller schools to come to your place twice. You go there, and we played in Tampa. So, for example, I would think if South Florida had their on-campus stadium already built, we probably would not have played there. We would have played them in Raymond James. That's kind of how that happens when the big boys go visit the smaller school. So, hope everybody has a great day. We'll be here tomorrow, folks. See you then. Take care.